In a show as diverse as Winx Club, there are many different aspects that stand out on their own. And when there's so much variety to choose from, I'm sure we've all got our favorites. Today I will be sharing with you which fairy form of each level is my personal favorite. I will try to explore all of the different fairy forms we have seen on the show thus far, not limiting myself to just the Winx fairies. However, to be clear, there has to be more than one fairy in a group. There has to be enough variety between the fairies of each category, and said fairies must have had some spotlight at one point or another as opposed to just being a group of background fairies. That means I'm ruling out Arcadia, the ethereal fairies, the Amazon fairies, the rustic fairies, the Arctic fairies, and the warrior fairies. Also note, I will not count the what-up names or the names of magics, for obvious reasons. Anything else is fair game. Let's start at the beginning with the original modern fairy form, otherwise known as Magic Winx. Choosing from one of these feels like being a kid in a candy store since there's so much to choose from. But ultimately, I decided to pick Aisha as my favorite. Her costume is really nice and definitely stands out in comparison to her fellow Winx if you decide to pay attention to detail, which I always do. An outfit like this in real life would take some serious skills to pull off, with all of those smart play with the fabric and the placement of the rings, which are all in some way connected to one another, making it technically a one-piece outfit. The effortless skirt over her shorts, along with that lively green color, give me this jungle heroine vibe, which adds to her character. Speaking of green, the two shades used for this outfit really make a statement. This outfit looks freaking awesome. Special shout out to Francine. Her costume is beyond gorgeous and has a design that, with bigger, more detailed wings, would easily pass as an Enchantix form. In fact, the only reason she wasn't my pick for favorite is because we never actually got to see her in action. Honorable mention goes to Francis. The Joker themed outfit looks great and is another one that stands out among the rest. Next, we have Charmix. I had debated a lot about choosing between Tecna or Musa. I really like Tecna's transmitter, but really like Musa's jewel note. But at the end, Musa's note looked better with her CD player than Tecna's transmitter looked with her triangle. So for that, I'm going with the Fairy of Sound. But Tecna gets obvious shout out. Then we have the Pixies. This was a no-brainer. The honors go to the adventurous Pixie of Box, Zing. Not only does she look amazing in her bee-inspired usual getup, but the bitch puts cosplayers worldwide to shame with her character's shape-shifting abilities. Dr. Octopus from Spider-Man, Spider-Man from Spider-Man, Scrat from Ice Age, just to mention a few. I mean, she does Veltor better than Veltar. And not only does she talk the talk, she walks the walk. Girl gets into character like nobody's business. Zing should have been one of the main pixies. No other pixie can hold a candle to her. Special shout out to Digit. She's definitely the coolest looking pixie out of the main six, and contrasts beautifully with the Bonded Fairy. Honorable mention to Glim. She's just adorable. Next up, we have the secondary fairies. You know, those fairies that are not main characters but got their own shining moment at one point or another in fairy form. For this one, we got quite a few fairies to choose from, like Roxy, Murda, Miele, even Daphne. But my money is set on the Aspro. Say what you want about the girl, but her fairy form is awesome. Her armor-like body top combined with her maroon red skirt and accents are a force to be reckoned with. Seriously, it looks great in battle. Honorable mention goes to Murda and Galatea. Enchantix, I don't even have to think about this one. It just has to be a tie. I just couldn't choose and wouldn't want to anyway. Musa's Enchantix outfit is one of the best fairy forms on the show, period. The magenta pinkish color with those bright yellow ribbons along with those golden wings and extended pigtails, you're giving me life, Musa. And that puffy skirt is everything. And then there's Tecna, whose change was the most radical of them all. After years of being called the ugly one, just because she had the least revealing outfit of them all, she showed everyone how sexy she can be. I mean, take away the ornaments and she's basically wearing underwear. But it was still very tastefully done. And in case you're not crazy about her look, you can choose between different versions. You can have her for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And did you see that hair? You go, girl. Enchantix 3D is a different story. They didn't just translate the already established looks to CGI. They upgraded the look of the fairies to cater to the new animation and created some bombshells in the process. They got it so right with Bloom. They decided to use the rainbow themed color pattern that was missing on the show, and it looks awesome on screen. They also altered her hairstyle a little to a more mature and sophisticated look. After her very simple looking Enchantrix costume, she definitely upped her game for the CGI version. Special shout out to Flora. For whatever reason, in 3D, her skin tone combined with the colors of her dress, wings, and makeup really catches my eyes in a way that I can't even explain. It's just so freaking beautiful. I mean, look at this face. Believix as a whole felt like a downgrade from Enchantrix. The costumes were too teenage casual. The only one who redeemed it was Tecna. I actually love Tecna's Believix look. It feels like a combination of her wings and her Enchantrix form. It doesn't feel too childish nor too sporty. It's a great balance between the two, and that haircut is one of her best. Sadly, it didn't translate well in 3D. In fact, none of them did really. The outfits are just okay for what they are, and their hair looks more like a wig. Unlike Enchantrix, Believix in 3D didn't feel like an upgraded version of its 2D counterpart. Just a failed attempt at translating the already bad designs from one format to the other. If I had to pick one, it'd be Bloom. Only because she doesn't look as jacked up like the rest. Sophix was interesting. Not really all that impressive in design, but gets the point across, I guess. I will say though, I liked what they did with Aisha's design. It was a very nice variation of her Believix outfit. It actually looks better. With Lovix, I'd say it's another type. Flora and Stella both look outstanding in the winter themed forms. Well, at least in comparison to the rest. The costumes of the major fairies don't seem to follow a specific pattern. Instead, it seems more like separate designs made for each individual fairy. My favorite is definitely Aurora's. Do I even have to explain this? Not only is her outfit phenomenal, but she herself is absolutely stunning. She looks and carries herself like a supermodel. Her outfit looks like a combination of Enchantrix and Lovix with a touch of Bloomix. And her wings are better than all of the Believix wings combined. Special shout out to the Amazonian beauty Diana, another breathtakingly beautiful fairy. She wears a very sexy leaf-inspired getup with matching decorations and this wild drag queen hair that will catch you off guard. She's my favorite out of the major fairies. Just don't let her beauty fool you. This bitch packs a punch. Now, I've complained about the Believix looks being too casual, but here's where it works. Mitzi and Company dark fairy costumes. Now, Sally looks too simple and civilian, though Dharma looked like a bit more detail was put into her design. But they both look pretty cool and it doesn't feel out of place. However, Mitzi looks freaking epic. That BDSM dominatrix thing she's got going on is hot. I'll say it, she looks better than Dark Bloom. Hate me all you want. Harmonix is another tie. Musa and Tecna. Now again, Musa looks stunning in her Harmonix. And strangely, I like that red or magenta were not her main color in her overall outfit, but just complementary accents. Her hair is the best one she's ever had. And although Tecna's hair isn't working for me, her overall look is stunning. The way her skirt folds is really beautiful and quite different from the rest, and the colors are pleasing to the eyes. Special shout out to Aisha, whose dress is also worth its money. When it comes to the 2D Cyrenics, it's such a shame that none of the wings really get it absolutely right. I'm gonna have to go with Daphne. She's pretty much the only one whose cutouts are tastefully done, and the color of her top and leggings actually complement each other, as opposed to just be the same or completely clash with each other. And her hairstyle is better than all of the wings, and the highlights feel like they actually belong there. The 3D Cyrenics feels like the 3D Believix. There's no best one, just the best of the worst. And there's not even that. They each have something I like more than I like it on the rest, but none of them really stands out as the overall best for me. I'm just gonna give it to Bloom and Musa simply because they don't make my eyes bleed so much. I don't think I even have to say which Bloomix is my favorite. Tecna slays all these bitches like it's her job to do it. I've even gotten used to the wings, though I still cannot comprehend what's going on with Bloom. Special shout out to Aisha. She also looks quite bombastic with the medieval warrior outfit. Props to the design team for stepping up their game this season. Overall, it's a really nice sight to see so many different imaginings for fairies, as opposed to just the usual old school interior forest type. We gotta give it to them for bringing badass in the general idea of fairies. I am WCD and never play leapfrog with a unicorn.